Good morning, this is Steve Gladys from the George Mason Enterprise Center here in Fairfax, Virginia for Steve Gladys Leadership Partners, and we're talking about now public speaking presentations, public presentations. And we mentioned earlier that we have nonverbals and then organization, and in the organization we talked about three parts of the speech: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion, and how each one of these was integral in telling the audience what you're going to tell them what you told them. It's the repetitive nature of speaking that embeds itself in people's minds. To get started, and I think probably the most important part of a speech is the introduction. First of all, it's when people are coming in, when they're sitting down, they're settling into their seats. They've all come from different parts of lives. Some people have been in traffic, other people have gotten their kids off to school, and you're trying to get them all on the same sheet of music right away. And so there are some techniques that you use, and some parts of this that are broken down into four parts. So the first part of an introduction is the attention getter. Attention getter is to get everybody together as quickly as you can. Some speakers will ask a question, other speakers will have people stand up and actually do something. Sometimes they'll have them do some kind of a gesture, or they'll ask them to turn around and introduce themselves to somebody else. There are sometimes speakers open with a startling statistic that 90% of all people blah blah blah, or did you know that? Sometimes it's a series of statements like that, or a series of statistics. It can also be a demonstration, sometimes a science demonstration or something in front of a group, kind of gets their attention. Or finally a story of sorts that people can tell. So we've got to get the attention of everybody. The second part of the speech is this, what's called a need to know. Even though you know that people are there for a reason, even if they've paid to be there, they don't all really know exactly what it is they should or could get out of your speech. This is a chance for you to tell them why the speech is so important to them. For example, if it's a bunch of teachers, you could tell them that this presentation is going to help you have better classroom management and going to help you enjoy the day more. Or if it's a bunch of lawyers, you might say to them, this is not only going to get your certification, your continuing education certification, but it's also going to help you in the courtroom when you're arguing a case in these three ways, or something like that. Selling the speech to the person and not assuming that they know why they're there, because sometimes they're there for all kinds of reasons. Sometimes their boss sent them, sometimes they want to get out of the office. It could be all kinds of reasons. You want to give them a real raison d'etre about why they're there. The third thing is you want to boil your speech down to one sentence. So we might want to say George Mason is the university for the 21st century here in Fairfax, Virginia. Some kind of a theme song that you're going to come back to time and time again. The introduction is kind of like the top of a dome or of a building or a rotunda. And having a theme is the thing that we're trying to prove into the speech, in the speech. It's also called the central idea, or the controlling idea of the speech. And the last thing we do is a preview of the coming attraction. So if we say that George Mason is the school for the 21st century, we might say that specifically three things: technology, entrepreneurship, and alumni make George Mason the great place that it is. And remember the word TEA, and that may help people remember it. So a mnemonic outlining the three things that you're going to talk about in the speech. This preview gives you the entry into the body of the speech and gives the audience a sort of a preview of coming attractions. And the purpose, again, of the introduction is to tell people what you're going to tell them. Thanks again. This is Steve Gladys from the George Mason Enterprise Center here in Fairfax, Virginia.